Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Gabe. So basically I started a YouTube a year ago and I wanted to be consistent, but I was still getting my life together here in NYC and still settling down and getting like friends, starting from like nothing while I moved here. But anyways, I've been in NYC like over a year now and I'm much more settled, so I'm going to try posting on YouTube again and being consistent. So today I'm going to be talking about a little story about when I was solo traveling in Morocco and I ended up getting my phone stolen. Don't recommend. But basically, I love to travel. That's like one of my favorite hobbies. Very expensive, so it can't do it a lot. But I wanted to always take like a really long sabbatical and like travel a few countries, like backpacking. So I saw like the backpacking. So basically, I saw like a TikTok or a reel about this lady. It was from a movie and it was her 50th birthday, and she's basically saying all the things she never got to do, like traveling to Paris in the spring and all these other things, because she keeps putting her life on hold and she didn't want to do that anymore. And she's like tearing up in the video, and I was like, wow, life does go by fast. So since I had the opportunity and I saved enough, I was like, let's just do the sabbatical. We'll go alone. While I've solo traveled before, I feel like it's great. It's so fun, freeing, and it helps you make more friends because you're not as focused on your group. Because it was last minute and it was such a long period of time, I was trying to travel for 1 month. It was just better to go alone, and I was just planning to stay in hostels, and that way I would make a bunch of friends. So I chose Spain because I've never been to Spain. I've always been wanting to go to Spain, and I wanted to pick a Spanish country because I need to work on my Spanish, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to practice. And then Morocco. I've never been to Africa or in any like Arabic cultured country, so I thought it'd be a huge experience, and that would be like the fun part, is like experiencing a whole brand new culture so different from your own. So basically I was going to be gone for a month, and when I was traveling, I was going to do a week in the Canary Islands, which is Spanish islands off the coast of Morocco, then go to Morocco from there for like do 1 week Canaries, 1.5 weeks like Morocco, then do the south coast of Spain, Andalusia, and stay there for like 2 weeks, just like living and practicing Spanish. Trip starts out great. Canary Islands was beautiful. Got a break from my first true winter in NYC. Then I ended up going to Morocco. My first day there, it was great. Did a bunch of like cool relaxing thing. Explored Marrakech, such a cool vibe. And then made friends with the people in my hostel that night, and convinced one of them to go to dinner with me at this really cool restaurant I wanted to go to called La Trattoria. Italian restaurant, but they have like a beautiful pool, beautiful ambiance, great reviews. So then we went there for dinner. It was like a 40-minute walk from the Marrakech Medina, and then we were gonna walk back. And on our walk back from dinner, basically we're crossing like a street, and as we were crossing a street, a car was coming and they were waiting for everyone to pass by, and all of a sudden this car like starts honking, and this is like middle of the night, so when you hear honking and you have lights flashing, you get alarmed. So we're like freaking out a little bit, not like too much, but like, whoa, what's going on? And then my friend notices like from his rear peripheral view a motorcycle like coming to like hit him. He jumps out the way, and then it comes right by me, and I didn't even see it. Like I couldn't register there was even a bike coming with how fast it was. I just saw my friend's figure, and he's like 6 foot, so he's a bit taller than me. And then I had my phone out like this to check the directions, and then all of a sudden there's another guy in the back of the bike, and he just goes to like grab my phone. And I had a phone charm that like went around my wrist, and it was like connected to my phone on the case, but like a little like hook of the case on the bottom part, and it's a Casetify cloud case. But anyway, it was an old case, so as soon as they went to pull it in the tug from like my charm to the phone, it just snapped and broke. So like the phone charm stood together, but my phone case part that it was attached to just snapped off, and they just made it off with my phone. And I was like, oh my gosh, they just stole my phone. I was like low-key in shock. And then I was angry for a bit, like really angry. Then we just finished the walk. At this point we were probably like 20 minutes away, I'd say, from like the Medina. Like we could see the tower like outside the Medina in Marrakech. So my friend had his phone, and so we used his maps on the rest of the way back, and he was low-key traumatized. Every time a bike came, he like stopped walking and like closed up like that. But made it to the hostel, told the hostel front desk what happened, asked them like what should we do, and they were saying that there's no phone places open right now because it was so late at night that all the shops are closed, and that we could try in the morning to try to get a phone. And there's like no Apple stores in Morocco. There's like refurbished ones, so like you get like guaranteed, but they're like far away from, they're not like in the Medina. So basically the best bet was to like get another iPhone or type of phone from Medina phones, and that's kind of like where stolen phones end up anyway. So it's like phones get stolen from like Spain or anywhere else in Europe, or even Morocco. Like my phone, they'll end up back in Medina, which is honestly where my phone ended up. Like once I got back to the US like weeks later, and I like got a new iPhone, I could still track my old phone. It ended up back in Medina. It was like, and it like was outside of Marrakech for like 2 weeks, I think, or a week or two or whatever, when I checked again, and then all of a sudden it ends up like back right by the Medina, being sold probably to someone else. But anyway, so get my phone stolen. At that point I was so mad because I'm solo traveling. I lost my phone. That's the only Apple device I had, and only like Wi-Fi enabled device I had. I didn't bring my laptop, I didn't bring my iPad, because the whole like point was to like backpack solo travel. So without a phone, I lost my Wi-Fi capabilities, GPS, listening to music, alarms, weather. And so on top of like losing all that, I couldn't just go and buy a phone the next day, because I actually booked a desert tour for like the next 3 days, and it left from like a point outside the Medina the next morning, like so early before the shops even opened. So my whole goal was like, I had to decide like, am I gonna let this getting my phone robbed like ruin like my time in Morocco and like cancel my desert tour, because there's no guarantee I'll get a refund, because there's no way I can contact them. And I did it through Get Your Guide, so while I feel like it would have helped me with the refund, I was like, I didn't want to like miss the opportunity. Like if I don't get to do another desert tour, like, you know, part of the reason I came to Morocco was to see the country. So I was like, let's do the tour. Like we gotta rally, we gotta pick it up and rally. So thankfully, the next day I ended up waking up early because of the morning prayer. I was already packed the night before, and I just got my bag and asking other people in the hostel were also waking up to go on their desert tours. Like some were leaving from the hostel, other people were going out to like different tour sites, whoever they booked with. And so I literally had to like make a friend. So I asked my new friend Kat, who's like living in Spain from the Philippines, like the GPS of like where I need to go. I'm like, okay, thank you. She like gave me the directions. I'm like remembering, which is really hard without like a compass to remember north, south, west, like. So I'm just like remembering my landmarks of like where to go, and then I see other tourists like rushing on their way, and then I like run to catch up with them, and then I'm asking them to double check, and I'm like, okay, now I know where I'm going. So basically ended up near the bus checkpoint, made it to my tour, did my 3-day trip, made friends on the tour, and basically I had to ask people to, you know, take my picture, wake me up, help me with an alarm, checking the weather for the day, like all the little things. And so it was great to like make friends, and it was kind of good to have a little disconnect, but like there's so much anxiety in the back of my head because I didn't have like a phone, and I did have to like rely on new friends and slash strangers for basic needs. Had a good like desert tour or whatever, come back from the desert tour, and some of the girls who I saw like on the way to different tours, I ended up in my room in the same hostel that night, coming back, and made friends with them, went out to brunch, and they ended up helping me buy a new phone. And so I bought like an iPhone 8, which was like region locked from Japan, so it was probably another tourist people got their phone stolen and I'm like part of the system now, but it was for like 100 USD, and that way I could get Wi-Fi, I had camera, I had an alarm, GPS, maps. I was able to contact my family through WhatsApp, and I couldn't even get in my own WhatsApp. I had to start a new WhatsApp account. I couldn't get into Instagram, my bank accounts, none of that, because of two-factor authentication. So basically, I created a new account on WhatsApp to talk to my family and communicate with new friends that I made in Morocco. And then I used it to like book the rest of my trip and plan out, because my trip was the only like real far stuff in advance that I booked was like my flights to Spain and then my flight returning from Spain. So my flight to like the Canary Islands from New York City, and then my flight from like south to Spain from like Sevilla to NYC back, and they were like a month apart. So I like have to book like the rest of my travels wherever I'm staying, and I left it up in the air. I didn't want to plan too far in ahead, just so I like had the freedom to like, if I hear, oh, you should stay here, go to this place, then I could do that like on my month-long sabbatical. But now that my phone is stolen, I couldn't access my accounts. I couldn't contact anyone really, except for my dad was the only one I really talked to through WhatsApp until like iMessage started to work. So it was basically just texting and iMessage. So basically cut my trip short. Thankfully, the plane ticket I bought back was like through Tap Portugal, and I paid for the one. I used my miles, but I got the one that like would change flights just in case, just because I always get like the cheapest going there, but then I like to like leave room for flexibility, because you never know what could happen abroad. So if something happens with your family, you want to come back quick, then like have that. So thankfully, with Air Portugal, it only cost me like I think 99 cents or something to change my days. So I moved my flight back like a week in advance. So I still spent like 10 days in Morocco. Did all the things I could do, like touristy, got out of there. Once I was out of there, I like felt a huge sense of relief, because I felt a lot safer in Spain, since like, you know, you get travel trauma when you get robbed, and it was my first time like being robbed abroad. Like I've traveled plenty of times and plenty of solo travels at this point, and while bad stuff does happen, I've never been like robbed of my phone or like passport, so I haven't had to like do this like survival scenario. But it makes you feel 10 times more alone when like that you're like part of the small percentage of stuff bad things happen to. So once I was back in Spain, I felt great. Had a great trip, made friends in those hostels. I only stood in Malaga and like Sevilla instead of like traveling the rest of Andalusia or Spain, because of basically not being able to track my accounts. It was hard to keep track of my budget and if I was spending, so I had too much like spending anxiety. I don't want to spend too much money. So, but I still had a great trip. I stood in like some really fun hostels, and then got to practice my Spanish a bit, and then made it back thankfully. And then once I was back in NYC, I like got a new phone. It took me like maybe 3 days for my phone replacement to get here. I had like phone insurance through AT&T. Apparently you're supposed to activate that online. I thought you just went into the store and you're like, hey, I have insurance, give me a phone or whatever. Nope, it's like you have to activate your phone insurance online. It's like through a third-party system, and then they'll mail it to you. It's supposed to be the next business day, but UPS and delivering on my street in NYC is always a headache. They didn't even like hit the buzzer, and they said they attempted the delivery and then they just brought it back to like the nearest store. So I like extended when I could get it. Then eventually I do go to get it, and then unboxing it, it was missing an eSIM QR code, so I couldn't even activate my phone without going to the AT&T store and getting a QR code from them. And the AT&T store in my neighborhood in NYC doesn't have it, so I had to like go to one even farther away. So I basically did a longer walk, got the QR code, activated my phone, and then I was back online, like had my same number, got to get into all my accounts, let all my friends know that I was alive, and some of them were worried because, you know, it showed my location was like stuck in Marrakech for like 2 weeks. So they reached out to my family, my little sister, to be like, hey, is he alive? Type of thing. And yes, I was, thankfully. Did not get kidnapped or killed, yay. But anyways, once my phone was working, got back into my accounts, and then I felt like, safe. All that to say, I'm really glad I still enjoyed the rest of my trip, and I didn't like just let it like ruin my time. I felt like I was gonna treat it more like as a disconnect, and I'll probably never go to Morocco again, but honestly I still had a great time. I saw some beautiful sights, the architecture. The majority of the people were so kind and welcoming, and the friends I made there were really cool. And that desert trip was so much fun, so I'm really glad that I did go to it, even though I was a little butthurt and mad in the beginning and at times, especially when like you're alone and you're on long travel rides and you don't have like a phone or music to play. Your thoughts just wander, and I just kept wandering back to like, oh, I can't believe I let myself get robbed. And that made me like pretty angry, and it did hurt my like view of travel for a bit. But thankfully, when I got back and posted and then let everyone know I was okay, I ended up going on another trip a bit later to Mexico with a friend, and everything went great there. Did not get robbed, so I got like my travel aura back basically, and I was redeemed. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed my little story time. I'm gonna be trying to post more, probably more like daily stuff, or I don't know really. I'm gonna try to be posting more content, more talking stories. And yeah, if there's any questions you guys have or anything you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm probably gonna be filming more like NYC content too, of like tips for moving here and all, and apartment hunting and things like that. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe.